This is the Fantasy Huddle. I'm Randy Shaver along with Kevin Gorg. We're happy that you're here. Big week in the NFL coming up. This show is presented by Aquarius Home Services. We're in the Aquarius Home Services studio. Minnesota Masonic Charities, 10K Construction, and Lexus of Maplewood and Wyzetta. All right, Gorgie, kind of an interesting week in a lot of different ways. Not too terribly many injuries, but some key ones, I think, that will affect people coming into this week. With Puka going down with the ankle, he did come back for the Rams, but he only had a couple of catches, was kind of not even a part of that game plan, it felt like, and maybe they didn't need him against Baltimore in the way that they played. But Igbuka is got a hamstring issue, and his status is uncertain. We've already lost a coach. Callahan gets fired at Tennessee. So kind of a crazy week, and the Vikings get back into action this week. We're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. We still don't know if McCarthy is going to be the starter, but I think we can kind of assume that that's what's going to happen this week. We haven't heard that he's had a setback injury-wise. He's been practicing. What's your take on the Vikings this week and just that quarterback situation?
Well, really hard to figure out what the tea leaves are going to tell us. I kind of felt like yesterday they were almost hedging their bets, saying that he hasn't been back on the field much. He hasn't really fully practiced and had a week to get ready for this game. I almost, as I handicap it, Randy, think Wentz will get the start this week, and they'll give JJ the practice time into that Thursday night game, because with an older quarterback, that quick turnaround, you have to go out and play in LA against the Chargers on Thursday Night Football the next week. I kind of feel like that's the spot, but you just don't know. And, real quickly on the injuries, Igbuka and Puka,
Yep.
It rhymes. They're two key players. As two maybe go out, it looks like Mike Evans and Rashee Rice, who's coming off suspension, might be returning. So with all the bye weeks, and if you're in guillotine like Randy and I are,
Yep.
Start to spend some money, because you need right now to have elite rosters in guillotine format as teams start getting chopped off and the league gets smaller. You're going to need some of these players, and Rashee Rice to me is a super intriguing option this week.
Yeah, for sure. There's only two teams on the bye this week: Buffalo, who definitely needs one, and Baltimore, who absolutely needs a bye week. They hope to get Lamar Jackson back after their bye week is up. But just two teams on the bye this week. So that means quite a few teams are in action this week. We're going to run down the list of games, and we're going to start with the Vikings game. It's a noon start on Sunday, and Kevin is handicapping that one. Kevin?
Well, I think when you handicap this game, it starts at that quarterback position for the home team. With Wentz, I think JJ, the receiver, Justin Jefferson, is a much better option. It's clear that Wentz has figured out, as a veteran quarterback, how to get him the ball in space, even if it's quick little dump offs. You've seen significant improvement in Jefferson's numbers since McCarthy went down. Let's figure out who it is, but I'm going to assume it's Wentz. Jordan Mason, not an easy matchup against the Philly defense, but certainly going to get a lion's share of the carry, so you're going to start him. Jefferson's a no-brainer. Addison's looked good in his two starts. Let's see if he can keep himself out of trouble with the coaching staff. And TJ Hawkinson, a serviceable tight end. On the Philly side, their offensive line has been tough. It feels like they're starting to get a little bit healthy. Jalen Hurts still going to be one of the quarterbacks you lean on, especially with Josh Allen on bye and Lamar Jackson, even though hurt on bye. So absolutely Hurts is going to be an option for you in daily fantasy. Saquon Barkley is not the same player he was last year, and that's not a shot at Saquon. I mean, this line just is not giving him the chance to succeed. You have to start him if you drafted him. There's no benching Saquon Barkley, but lower your expectations. Same thing with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Likely got to start them. Vikings defense is far from elite, so they could get a chance, especially in the red zone. The real silver lining for the Eagles' struggles this year has been Dallas Goedert. He has been a tight end monster. Another couple touchdowns last time out. Goddard is a must start. Over-unders 43.5. So I don't expect this to be a shootout. If I look at the game, I kind of see a 20 to 16 game. So not a lot of fantasy guys I'm going to lean on in my daily endeavors this week.
Yeah, it feels like an under to me too in this game. The Vikings coming off the bye, You would assume that the rest helps, but maybe it's rust as well. And the Eagles they've got to get themselves together. So this is going to be a critical game for both teams. And Kevin, when you look at the NFC, there are so many teams that are competing right now in the NFC, unlike the AFC, where there's some clear-cut teams. The NFC is really muddled because there's a lot of teams at 3-2, in that dogfight. So this is all the games involving NFC teams are big, but this one is super big, certainly for both teams on Sunday. All right, we're going to backtrack. My game is the Pittsburgh Bengals game, which is a Thursday night game being played in Cincinnati. The line's 42.5. The Steelers are 5.5, 6-point favorites. They just keep winning ugly, the Steelers do. They won again against Cleveland. Aaron Rodgers, a couple of touchdown passes, super efficient, wasn't sacked in that game. 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's available in every single league that I'm in. And I look at my backup quarterbacks and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? I should be taking him. I feel like gator arms when I'm at dinner and I don't want to grab the bill. It's like I want to grab him, but I'm so hesitant. But I think he's certainly playable in this football game. The Bengals defense, as we know, is not very good. And you stack him with Metcalf, and I think that's a really good stack to think about and play. Jaylen Warren is 13 touches last week, got 11 carries. I think he's playable too. So there's some Steelers there that are sneaky. The number is not as high as you would want it to be if you're going to play guys in this game. But I think on the Steelers side, the Bengals are just so beat up and bad that, it's tempting. I really like the Steelers defense in this game. They're a +7 in turnovers this year. Had 6 sacks last week. They're healthy now. I really like, I guess out of all the things I like about the Steelers, probably their defense is the one thing that I like the most. On the Bengals side, again, to your point, if you've got Jamar Chase or Chase Brown, well, maybe not Chase Brown, but Jamar Chase, you got to play him. I mean, Flacco found him. But it's just so disappointing if you drafted heavy Bengals, counting on Bengals to help your teams, because it's just not going to be there. They're now 2-4 after starting 2-0. I just think it's going downhill, and it's just not going to get any better. Chase Brown is broken. That offensive line gives him no help. Your guy is just,
I know.
What
so
a
hard
sad,
to watch.
what a sad thing 6 games into the season, because I agreed with you before the season started. I thought Chase Brown would have a big year. So for me on the Bengals side, there's really nothing other than if I drafted a Jamar Chase, I'm going to play him because he's very good. Maybe he'll have a decent game against the Steelers, but, really not a lot to love on either side for me, other than maybe the Steelers defense. Let's go to New Orleans, Chicago. The Rams in Jacksonville. This is the Sunday morning 8:30 game over in London. And Kevin, you got this one.
Yeah, Rams are a small 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 45.5. So a decently high total. And I'll start with Puka Nacua. That's where I handicap this game. Is Puka in? Is Puka out? You're going to have to really track this one because they're going to be ultra careful with their star receiver. And if he can't go, then everybody else, I think, gets a really big upgrade as far as their volume work goes. Start with Devontae Adams. He's a great start on any given Sunday, but if you take Nacua out, then he's really going to be a focal point of the passing game. Stafford is likely going to be a guy you're going to lean on. Of course, Kyron Williams, the touchdown machine. But let's get into the Puka chatter if he doesn't go. A couple of guys. Tutu Atwell didn't play last week. He's trending towards trying to get back on the practice field this week. Worth watching. And then the name to remember is Jordan Whittington. He got a little run last week when Puka went out. He had a decent stat line with 3 catches But he's a guy that would certainly be a daily fantasy guy, super cheap that you could plug in, or if you're really desperate in your season long, pop him in there. But it all comes down to whether Puka Nacua can play. On the Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence is having a really quietly solid fantasy season. He's been good. ETN to me is now a must start every week in the backfield. He's the guy back there. Brian Thomas is starting to come alive, and he was a stud coming into the year. He was a dud the first month, but he's been good the last couple of weeks. 8 for 90 and a tutty last week, and a second touchdown got taken away by a penalty. So watch out for Brian Thomas. He's a guy you want to look at in daily fantasy that could pop off. And then the rest are on the bench, including Travis Hunter. Big name, nice cachet there, but not a fantasy factor so far this year. So that's it for me.
Yeah, I think on the Rams side, I was heavy on Stafford and Nacua when they played last week in daily, and obviously got burned by the injury. But I just don't think Stafford's the same guy when Nakua's not out there.
That's tough.
It scares me a little bit to think about playing him and maybe stacking him with Adams, because I just don't think he's the same kind of player as he is when he's got Nacua out there. All right, New Orleans, Chicago, noon start. I've got this game. The Bears coming off the huge Monday night come from behind victory over Washington. The number's 45.5. The Bears are 5.5, 6-point favorites. You got to say the Saints are competitive, and we've been saying this every week. They're competitive, and there are some pieces on that team that you have to think about. And I'll throw Kamara out there. He touched the ball 15 times against New England. The Bears have they've given up the second most yards on the ground in the NFL this year, at least leading into the Washington game. Only Miami is worse than that. So if you look at those numbers, I think Kamara is playable, certainly against Chicago. I would like him better if they were at home than at Soldier Field, but I think you have to consider him. I'm not Rattler and Olave, sure. I mean, if you want to try to be sneaky and get lucky, I could see doing that too. I'm not going to do that, but I could see it. And Taysom Hill is there robbing people. So if you want to take a chance on a Taysom Hill, we got 1 carry, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. Hey, it's 6 points in your fantasy league, and probably nobody's going to play him. So that's a possibility. On the Bears side, I think he can play everybody. I really do, against the Saints. I don't know what the weather looks like yet in Chicago on Sunday, but if the weather's good, I think you can play everybody. The Saints defense isn't terrible. They're kind of middle of the road, to be quite honest with you, but I think the Bears are finding themselves. That win Monday night, you could just see it. You could hear it in the interviews after the game. You can see it in their faces. They're starting to believe a little bit that they've got something going. So Caleb, for sure. Odunze was quiet in that game against Washington. Swift was very good, and I think he's definitely playable. So I like all those pieces. The number is high enough where, I could feel comfortable playing that. If I were to play Bears, I'm not sure I would bring somebody back on the Saints side, even though I know they'll likely be behind. Probably makes some sense, but I guess I wouldn't know which one to count on the playback side. I do like the Bears defense in this game, though. I think Chicago's defense is definitely playable. Next game is Miami and Cleveland. What a miserable mess this game is. Oh. It's a noon start on Sunday. And as of right now, the head coach of the Dolphins is still the head coach, but that could change at some point. He seems to be the next one on the hot seat.
Might be his last game. Capri pants and all. I'm not sure the capris are going to work in Cleveland. So over-under is only 40.5. So Vegas is expecting a low-scoring game. Cleveland's a 2.5-point favorite. My personal opinion is Cleveland's going to win this game and win it handily. I just think it's a tough matchup for Miami. Cleveland's defense is stout, and Miami's defense stinks. And with Tyreek Hill out for the year, their offense is very limited. I'm very worried. I've got multiple shares of Devin H, and he's been awesome all season. This is a really bad matchup for him. So I think taper your expectations. Tua, I'm not starting in any of my leagues. If I've got shares of Tua, he's on my bench. I can't do it against this defense. I won't do it.
I'll take that a step. I'll take that a step further. I have him in league. I'm dropping him. I'm moving on.
It's time.
I think it's a very scary thing to have him in your lineups at this point and counting on him, because I think after the words that he said in that press conference about how things are, the leadership, I think things are heading way downhill fast. Don't you agree?
So I do. Achan and Waddle, I guess, are startable, but I would really take your expectations down a few notches. I think this game has 27-7 written all over it. Waller, if you're desperate, he gets touchdowns, but he's not getting the type of volume you need. I really am trying to avoid Dolphins if I can this week, because I think there's a storm brewing. I agree with you, Randy. On the side of the Cleveland Browns, Dylan Gabriel, it looks like a nice prospect at the quarterback position. This is not a guy you want to start on a regular basis in fantasy, but with the bye weeks and the injuries, if you're desperate, I could see him combining for a couple of touchdowns here. Quinshon Judkins is the guy that I am really going to focus on with this matchup. I believe they're going to be playing from in front. I think you can run on Miami. You said that already with the numbers that bear that out. I think Judkins is sitting on a monster game. I'm all in on him. Keep an eye on the tight end situation. My guy, Njoku, left the game last week with an injury, and I've been frustrated by the dual tight ends in Cleveland. But if you're going to give me Harold Fannin Jr. isolated all by himself with Njoku out, then I'm in. I'm going to play him as well. Jerry Jeudy, not consistent enough for me. Dart throw, maybe, but no, not somebody I'm looking for. So Judkins and maybe Fannin in a Cleveland win that I think is going to end the coaching career of Mike McDaniel. We'll see how it plays out.
And I think the Browns defense is definitely playable if you've got them, or if they're in your league on the waiver wire, you should be picking them up, because they are very good. All right. New England, Tennessee. It's a noon start on Sunday. The line is really low, 41.5. Patriots are a big favorite, almost a touchdown favorite in this game. Drake May, very simply, play him. Play him this week. Play him, pick him up, play him, start him. He's turned out to be really, really good. 10 touchdown passes, 2 picks in his games. They certainly believe in him. It's kind of hard to figure out who to play with him. Butte and Hunter Henry, probably. If you stacked them last week, perfect. If you're going to stack them this week, I feel like you're chasing it. Probably won't happen this week, but I could see Hunter Henry being a part of it. I think they'll be playing from ahead in this game. So the running backs, and again, it's a wash between the two right now. Very hard to decide who to play. I do like the Patriots defense in this game, even though it's in Tennessee. But Drake May, I would play Drake May naked in my dailies. I just think that's the best move and probably the safest in this game. For Tennessee, nothing. Absolutely freaking nothing. Tajay Spears got more touches than Pollard last week.
It's ugly.
It's just a mess. And yeah, they're at home. Anything can happen. I get it. I want no part of anything with Tennessee. So I would say in this game, just Drake May and run with that. Las Vegas at Kansas City. It's a noon start. Kind of an interesting game, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, a traditional rivalry game in this division. Over-unders 45.5, so points are expected. And don't look now, but Andy Reid has the Kansas City Chiefs rolling a little bit here. And beware. And, listen, the Raiders are going to be in chase mode. There's no doubt in my mind when you're a 12.5-point underdog. That's great news normally when you have a quarterback that's going to be likely playing in garbage time. But garbage is the word I think of when I think of Geno Smith's performance this year. I mean, this guy, he's been bad. Like I liked him in Seattle. He was a guy I leaned on in Seattle for a lot of fantasy objectives.
I will say this though, Kevin, in fairness to him, without Brock Bowers, it kind of sucks. Yeah, it just kind of does. And their receiving core just hasn't given him a lot. And the offensive line, there's a lot of things going on in Vegas. But But yeah, I mean, they've spent a lot of money and he's just not been able to help them.
Interceptions are killing him.
Yep.
Genty is still a guy that I think will take some pressure off him, albeit against one of the top 5 defenses against the run. So again, I love Genty. I love the talent. The fantasy production's been really on the come here the last couple of weeks, but I think you have to lower your expectations on the road at Arrowhead. With Bowers, still a question mark. If you've got Brock Bowers and you're waiting, you want that production. Michael Mayer has been a decent backup and certainly somebody you want to handcuff to Brock Bowers if you have room on your roster. I'm avoiding the receivers, Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers. You know what? Either one of those guys could go off, but I just don't see it this week against KC. It's all about when you play these teams, and I think the Raiders are catching Kansas City at the wrong time. Mahomes has been awesome. I got to eat a little crow on this one. I didn't see the fantasy production being this consistently good because of their defense, but, Mahomes is making me a believer. He's been great. I'm still avoiding the running back chaos with Pacheco and Hunt. I mean, they're both not producing enough for me to start either one of them, and I'm not going to play the guessing game in daily. But the big news this week in Kansas City is Rashee Rice is back, and everybody's expecting him to be a focal point of the offense. The conversation out of Chiefs practice here recently is this guy looks as good as he has ever looked. He's fresh. Start him up. If you can find him on a waiver wire, God, that'd be incredible. But yeah, Rashee Rice is the guy you want. Kelsey, another solid game, 6 catches, 78 yards last week. And then of the other receivers, Xavier Worthy's the only one I'm going to take a look at as startable. I mean, I know Hollywood Brown's been good, but now with Rashee Rice back, there are just too many cooks in that receiving kitchen. KC should roll. I've got them on a 34-10 type of victory.
I would say Hollywood Brown, though, if you looking at daily fantasy, he's going to be super cheap.
True.
And there is some faith between him and chemistry between him and Mahomes. He had 2 touchdowns last week, but maybe Rice isn't quite there yet. Maybe it'll take him a game or 2. So, Kansas City is playing great on all cylinders for sure. Carolina Jets, the last noon game on Sunday. I don't know how the Jets did it, but they managed minus 10 yards passing last week, which is just pathetic. Honestly, in this day and age of the NFL, how in the world can you not get at least 50 yards passing in a football game? It's just
unbelievable.
Amazing. They're 0-6. Having said that, they're the favorite in this game against Carolina. The number's 44.5. And at least at last word, the Jets were a 1 to 1.5 favorite over the Panthers. The Jets give, on the Panthers side, the Jets give up 28 points a game, right? The Panthers, at times they look pretty good. I mean, last week they looked good.
They did.
They've got pieces. Tet McMillan finally got in the end zone for a couple of times. Rico Dowdle's been fantastic. I'm not sure that kind of game will happen in this one because I think the Jets defense is decent. But you got to play him. If you got him, if you picked him up, you got to play him because he's got the hot hand. And I don't know if we'll see Chuba Hubbard back on the field, even when he is healthy, because Dowdle looks so damn good. He just looks really, really good. So maybe you stack some Panthers this week, knowing that the Jets will likely self-implode, likely have a ton of penalties, likely screw the pooch passing the ball. There's so many ways that the Panthers can win this football game and have fantasy success. So I think there's some pieces on the Panthers side for sure. The Jets, the only reason why I think they're a favorite is that they're at home. That's the only reason why. And I wouldn't be surprised if this number flops or becomes even or goes to the Panthers side before Sunday. Justin Fields has been miserable. Yes, he has the ability to run the ball in for a touchdown. I get it. And if you're going to run the ball against a team, the Panthers are a team to run the ball against for sure. So maybe Breece Hall is a guy to think about in this game. But Garrett Wilson is just, I know he's banged up. I don't even know what his status is going to be.
I think he's doubtful, Randy.
Yeah, I just don't. There's nobody on that team I feel confident about playing, even against the Panthers. So for me, as I look at this game, I would play guys on the Panthers side and take a chance that they're finding some confidence in what they're doing and that the Jets situation is just going south in a hurry and maybe you can take advantage of it. I don't know. What do you think, Kevin?
I think Breece Hall is the one player I'm going to look at only because they're at home, only because Carolina's run defense is so bad.
Right.
And with Garrett Wilson out, I wonder if there is a path to him getting 150 combo yards and a touchdown. We'll get to that in my FanDuel lineup. But no, I'm not looking to isolate on any Jets. And now with that star receiver likely out, I don't know what you do. I mean, Justin Fields is a hot mess. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
All right, it's time to look ahead. Winter will be here before you know it, which means your furnace better be ready to roll. So make sure, thanks to Aquarius Home Services. Right now, they have a crazy good deal. A furnace tune-up for only $29. Yep, $29. A trained technician will give your HVAC system a thorough evaluation. They'll go over all the findings with you. And trust me, it's better to find the problems now before the snow flies. Find out more at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended. 10K Construction is your one stop for all your general contracting needs, whether interior, exterior, residential, commercial, or multifamily properties. They build relationships with their clients, and that's how they've grown their business through referrals. Plus, they are teaming up with LP SmartSide to become Minnesota's premier siding installer. And they're also partnering with IKO Shingles as well. They've got the best of the best to do the job right. 10K Construction covers both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, the rumor is they charge a little extra because it's Packer land. I'm not sure about that, but what I am sure about, 10K Construction is the company you want handling all of your general contracting needs. Go to 10kconstruction.com for details.
Hey, Rosie here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than my good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they have got you covered with two great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to LexusofWayzata.com or LexusofMaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today.
All right, let's move on to the 3 o'clock games. The Giants are at Kevin's Broncos. It's a 3:05 start.
Yeah, the 3 o'clock games are meaty this week for fantasy. Really some good games. This game is sneaky good, too. The over-under is only 41. Denver is a 6.5-point favorite. But I think there are fantasy options on both sides of the football. I'll start with the underdog Giants. Randy's guy, Jackson Dart, is electric. He's great fun. He can run the football. I think as time goes by this season, you're going to see the passing numbers elevate. There's no doubt this kid's got something. He might be saving his head coach's job because I love the energy he is bringing to this football team. I love the way they played last week. Yep. They dominated the Philadelphia Eagles. Scattaboo is awesome in the backfield. I'm so thankful. I went out and got him in a couple of my guillotine teams. I love watching that kid compete. He's a must start against a very good and stout Bronco defense, but he's still going to catch you enough out of the backfield in PPR to get you some points. The receivers, I'm a little iffy on. Wan'Dale Robinson went right. He can do it. He did it last week. Slayton's still injured and a question mark. Really, for me, I'm focusing on Dart and Scattaboo. Theo Johnson, the tight end, not productive enough yet for me to pay attention to. On the Broncos side, they're likely going to be playing from in front. So as great as Bo Nix can be in fantasy, and daily at least, I'm not looking to go with him. As far as season long goes, you probably have to start him, but I don't know you're going to get a huge game out of Bo Nix. The running backs cancel each other out, in my opinion. Harvey and Dobbins are both good football players. Neither one's great, but again, they're still sharing the backfield, like Kenny Walker and your guy Charbonneau in Seattle. Both good players, but when they share the targets and they share the touches, it cancels each other out. Cortland Sutton is still a stud at wide receiver. I expect him to have a big game here against the Giants. I think they're going to have a very hard time covering Cortland Sutton. Evan Ingram is a quietly sneaky good start at tight end this week. The Giants very porous against that position. See Dallas Goedert last week for that. I think Evan Ingram is a cool play in daily as well. And then Marvin Mims is a dart throw. You're not going to look to start him, but if you're desperate, he could get you a big player too. Broncos win this game, but I think it's going to be closer than the experts think.
All right. Very good. All right. Indianapolis at the Chargers. It's a 3:05 start. The number's 48.5, and the Chargers are almost a 2-point favorite. It's the third highest number on the board this week. There's pieces all over the place to play in this game. I think for the Colts, you can play Taylor for sure. Maybe that's the only piece that you play. And if that is, I'd feel confident in Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to get the touches. I think he's going to probably get some opportunities inside the 5 in this game. Daniel Jones, you can play him naked if you wanted to and take a chance that the other guys, that they throw the ball a little bit more this week and don't rely on Jonathan Taylor that much. But to me, Tyler Warren is the obvious piece. If you're going to play Daniel Jones, you got to stack him with Tyler Warren, because I think that's where the money is in this game against the Chargers for the Colts. Pittman was quiet last week. Downs got into the end zone, lukewarm. It's a very concentrated offense with the Colts. It's Jones, it's Taylor, it's Warren. Those are the guys that you want to think about. And with the number being as high as it is and the spread only a 1.5, both teams are going to score. That's what Vegas thinks. They're both going to get on the board. So I think that you can feel confident in that for the Colts. On the Chargers side, I think we learned that Vidal is the featured back. 21 touches last week. The Colts defense much better than Miami's. So I think you have to temper your expectations a little bit. But I like Herbert in this game. I think that they might be, it's going to be close. Who knows? They could be playing from behind for quite a bit of part of this game too. McConkey is, somebody poked him and now he's fine. He's playing hard and
He looks
catching
good.
the footballs. Yeah, looks good. Keenan Allen for sure. So there's some stacks on that side that definitely would consider in this game. I think you've got to get in daily, you've got to get a piece of this. You got to get something. How many pieces? It's up to you, but I think you've got to, you look at that number, and I love playing the main slate on FanDuel when the 3:00 games are the ones that are hot, because my concept is find one or two in the noon starts that can get me to 3:00 with some points on the board, and then hope that those 3:00 games go off. So I'm definitely looking at this game as being one of the better games to focus on this week, for not only for PPR purposes in season long, but also in daily. Let's move on to another great matchup. Washington and Dallas. It's a 3:25 start.
54.5 is the highest total of the week. So it's great for all of us that play fantasy. Washington favored on the road. I find that interesting. 2.5-point pick for the visitors. Jaden Daniels in a smash spot against Dallas. They didn't have an answer for Carolina. They're not going to have an answer for Jaden Daniels. Fire up Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in the backfield. He's sitting on a big game, I believe, as well. He can catch the football. He can run. Dallas is terrible against running backs. Deebo Samuel was quiet last night on Monday Night Football. He's dealing with a couple of different minor injuries, but hopefully he can mend this week. Same question mark around Terry McLaurin. In a division game, they're going to try like heck to get him back on the field for this game, and he was close to playing last week. So something to monitor for sure. But the player that I kind of like as a sneaky option is the tight end, Zach Ertz. Another big game last week, 6 for 43 and a tutty. If you can get 16 points plus out of your tight end and full point PPR, you're feeling good about yourself. So I like a Jaden Daniels, Zach Ertz stats. And if you want to get aggressive, you can use the running back, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. On the Dallas side, Dak Prescott continues to be a great option at quarterback. He's been consistent. He's been good. Dallas plays high-scoring games. He's got weapons. So fire up Dak Prescott. No worries there. Same thing with Javonte Williams. Great running back option. One of the great bounce-back stories in fantasy football this year, as is George Pickens. I mean, oh, my goodness, George Pickens, once CeeDee Lamb went out, this guy's just turned into a beast. I mean, you'd love having this guy on your roster in season long. Same thing with the tight end Ferguson, just a stud, top 5 at that position. Those are the players I'm going to focus in on. Dak, Javonte, Pickens, and Ferguson. I know Flourney's got a little run, number 19, the little scat back slot guy. Not for me yet, but someone to maybe stash on your roster because Dallas plays such fun games. So this is another game where you're going to want to have some action. I'm going to have in my FanDuel lineup a stack leaving this game, so I can't wait to talk about that.
Yep, for sure. All right, the last game on Sunday at 3:00 is Green Bay, Arizona. It's a 3:25 start. The number's 43.5, and the Packers are almost a 7-point favorite in this game. I think the number's lower because it's in Arizona. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it here. On the Packers side, Josh Jacobs, you just got to play him. If you got him, you got to play him. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Doesn't matter the matchup. You got to play Josh Jacobs. And, I actually really like Jordan Love this week. I do. I like Green Bay a lot in this game. The number maybe is not as high as you would like it to be. I would even think about playing Love naked as a quarterback in some daily. Just because I think they're going to move it around. I think Arizona is going to play desperate this week. I think they're going to leave it all out there on the field because they lose this game and they're in big trouble. But for me, the Packers defense is interesting. Not a bad pick, I don't think. Certainly Tucker Kraft, if you wanted to stack him with Love, makes sense. There's too much question mark at the receiver spot for me right now, even though Golden seems to be playing a little bit better and Dobbs there's just not enough there for me to feel confident. But Josh Jacobs, for sure, I think is the big piece. On the Arizona side, I haven't seen anything on whether Murray might play or not play this week. But you know what? If I'm an Arizona fan, leave him on the bench. Brissett played great.
He did.
Just play Ja'Cory Brissett. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns and 320 yards passing against Indianapolis. Just play the guy. Move on from Kyler Murray. It's not going to happen in Arizona.
I agree.
If it hasn't happened now, it's not going to happen. Nope. And he's kind of like Justin Fields 2.0. That's come on. It's just not going to happen. I did pick up some shares of Zonovan Knight just because Arizona's backfield is such a mess with injuries and everything else that he ended up being the guy that carried the ball the most and got in the end zone. But there's really not, for me, a lot on the Arizona side to play and feel confident about. Yeah, you can play McBride. Certainly can look at Harrison. I just think Green Bay's defense is too good for you to feel confident about playing a lot of pieces on the Arizona side. So for me, it's Josh Jacobs and a few other sprinkle of pieces, even though the number's decent. I just don't think there's enough there to get super excited about. And that's the end of the main slate for FanDuel. And we'll talk more about that coming up. Let's move to the Sunday 7:20 game. It's Atlanta at San Francisco, and Kevin's got that.
Yeah, fun game here. Total is 46.5. San Francisco, just about a field goal favorite at 2.5. Penix on the Atlanta side has been good, not great. Not somebody I'm in love with, but certainly in a game like this where there figures to be some offense, he's got enough weaponry where I think you can start Penix here with confidence. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Bijan Robinson. What he does on a weekly basis is unbelievable. And the best part of Bijan Robinson, if you drafted him first overall, which is what you should have done, is he never misses a game. He played every game the last 2 years. He's played every game this year. 35.8 fantasy points against Buffalo. He is so much fun to watch. He is so damn good. And they're still giving Algier a run to cut into his production. He is out of worldly and the best running back in football, and it's not close, in my opinion. Drake London reaping the benefits of teams trying to stop Bijan. 10 catches, 158 and a tutty against Buffalo. He looks great. He and Penix have something cooking there for sure. Kyle Pitts is a guy. He's a guy with talent. He's a guy that doesn't probably play up to his talent. I know you're laughing, but Kyle Pitts just looks like if you made a tight end, like a robotic tight end in some lab somewhere with scientists. He's got everything you want. He's big. He's lanky. He's got these big, just doesn't get it done. He's very average. Darnell Mooney didn't play on Monday. He's a question mark this week. Not somebody I'm looking to start, but just a fact. London, Bijan, and Penix are the three on the Atlanta side that you can stack with confidence. San Francisco, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I still think Mac Jones is most likely to start, but Brock Purdy, working through multiple injuries, is still considered a possibility. McCaffrey, a wonder, a veteran that just continues to show great fantasy production because of his catching ability. He's always relevant. 24.1 fantasy points last week. A machine, nonetheless. And with Pearsall and Jennings banged up, both of them a question mark. The Bourne identity is now here, and it's a thing. 5 for 142, back-to-back, over 100-yard production games for him on the receiving yards. Fire up Bourne without any doubt at all. And then Kittle is supposed to practice this week. So if you did the right thing and you own Jake Tonjes, the backup's been fine, but now you might get your big guy back. Keep an eye on that. We'll have an update for you Friday here on the Fantasy Huddle, but Kittle likely to play. I think this is a really fun Sunday night game, high scoring. I've got San Francisco winning a close one, but again, fantasy options all over the board, Randy.
Well, the way the NFC West is shaping up, it's a huge game in the NFC West for sure. So I'm not so sure when NBC lined it up that they said, week 7, we'll throw Atlanta in there. We'll see what happens. Actually, it's turned out to be a very good matchup. It should be a fun game, especially Atlanta coming off the win over Buffalo. I think it gets everybody excited about it. 2 games on Monday night. I don't know why we keep doing this. It just drives me crazy.
I'm with you.
At least this time they're staggered where you can watch one then watch the other, right? Tampa Bay at Detroit is my game. Monday night, 6:00. The number is 53.5. Detroit is a 5.5 point favorite. I think only because the Lions are at home is that number as high, because I think Tampa Bay, it's a very competitive game. So that number, that 5.5, could drop a little bit before we get to game time on Monday. I wish this game was on the main slate because it's got so much stuff. Although, on the Tampa side with Igbuka out, Irving didn't play, likely may not play this game. Godwin is still banged up. Yes, Mike Evans could come back, which would be great for Baker Mayfield. But Baker's had to really kind of make some things up here, which tells us a lot about what a great quarterback he is. Tez Johnson stepped up this last week. He's a guy that when I studied for Daily last week, after our show, his name popped up a lot in conversations across daily fantasy prognosticators and so on. So, and he lived up to that. Rashad White obviously has been really good and in the place of Irving, and likely will get a chance to do some things in this football game. I mean, the number is so high that you have to consider Tampa players. I think I would consider them more as playbacks to what I would stack on the Lions side. I don't know if I would stack the Bucs and play back somebody from Detroit. I just don't think that, to me, makes a lot of sense. I like the Lions much better. But those are some pieces on that side. And especially, I look at Rashad White and his role as a receiver too, really makes him, very interesting to want to play. On the Detroit side, just play everybody. I mean, if you got Lions, just play them. I mean, it'd be yes, the Tampa defense is good. This is a very competitive football game. It's high scoring for a reason. Tampa is going to get on the board. They are going to score some points. Even more reason to play as many Lions as you can find. This Lions team is kind of like I think they're figuring out we're not dominating like we thought we were. And so I think, to me, it makes them even more interesting because I think that they're going, not that they're in desperation mode, that's not the word to use, but I think the reality is they've got to play better. They can't walk in and dominate people like they have the last couple of years in the way that they've played. Injuries have not helped them. Their secondary is decimated, especially at the cornerback position, which is another reason why Tampa is interesting to play this week. But Goff, St. Brown, Stackham, Gibbs, Montgomery, Laporta, you got to play him.
There's your guy.
Yeah,
yes.
you just got to play him because there's going to be a combination of Lions that are going to have a big game on Monday night. And if you play the Monday night, just the 2-game slate on FanDuel or wherever, that's the team that you really want to think about stacking for sure. So that's the way I look at that game. Give me Lions all night long, and I'll be happy in putting that lineup together. All right, last game, Houston at Seattle. It's a 9:00 start on Monday night.
Yeah, a good football game in real football terms. Seattle 3.5-point favorite, over under hovering around 40 right now at 40.5. But for fantasy purposes, I think points might be a little hard to come by. I think the weather might be a factor. A cool night in Seattle. Maybe you'll get some precipitation. We'll keep an eye on that as we get closer to the weekend. C.J. Stroud comes off a 4-touchdown game. Remember, they were on a bye last week, but they put the hurt on the Ravens 2 weeks ago. So he's playing with confidence right now. Nico Collins, his go-to guy. If you're going to play a Monday night stack, that would be the way I would go. Those are the two big pieces. Christian Kirk is a sneaky option as the second receiver. He's starting to get some traction, some buzz out of practices in Houston. Certainly someone to consider. Dalton Schultz comes off a 5-catch, 60-yard performance at the tight end position, which is double-digit in fantasy points in PPR format, so not the worst option. The tough part for me is the running backs, Nick Chubb and Woody Marks, kind of, again, two-headed backfield canceling each other out. I would lean towards Chubb. He's the safer option, but I don't love either one of them against Seattle, who should be very stout against the run at home. Sam Darnold, our former Vikings quarterback, doing it again this year, looks fantastic.
Don't they wish they had him back?
Nah, no kidding. Seriously,
Really?
you're not wrong. And I tell you, but isn't it a surprise that a veteran has fit in here with the weapons he has and done well? And at the top of the list is Jackson Smith and Jigba, 8 for 162 and a touchdown.
Phenomenal.
Every team game plans to shut this guy down every week, and they can't do it. He's like Justin Jefferson. You cannot stop this guy.
And the thing about him, Kevin, is there's not a guy on the other side that's taking away
nothing.
Defenses. There's nobody on the. I don't even know who the other receiver is on the other side.
Cooper Kupp's a name, but he's not the same guy.
Okay, yeah, okay, Cooper Kupp, sure, but he's not the same guy.
No.
So JSN is doing a lot of this on his own, and he is so good. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
tremendous.
Yeah, he's amazing. He really is amazing. You don't want to start Cooper Kupp. I know he had a touchdown last week, but again, that's not something you can depend on. A.J. Barner is a guy at tight end that if you're desperate, he did have 3 for 71 yards last week. And then the frustrating part for me is the backfield, because I do believe if Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker III was all by themselves, they would be a really good fantasy option. The problem is it's a 50-50 share. So you're cutting that production in half. So don't do it to yourself. If you can avoid it, please do, because it's a complete guessing game. I would stack Darnold with Jackson Smith and Jigba with confidence there and not look anywhere else. I think Seattle wins the game. I think it's a very competitive game, but I don't think it's a game in fantasy that, as we call it, blows up.
Yeah, I think it's a better game as an NFL game than a fantasy game on Monday night. All right, let's move on to our PPR picks for this week. I'm going to start, and this is what I like. Drake May at quarterback. I like him.
Nice.
Like playing him naked this week against Tennessee. Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara are my backs. I'm going to go with that conversation I had about going with running backs against the Bears as something a little bit different. I love Amon St. Brown this week. I love George Pickens for Dallas at receivers. My tight end is Goddard. I think he's going to blow up the Vikings on Sunday. And McCaffrey would be my flex spot because I think they're going to be relying on him quite a bit against Atlanta. So it's Drake May, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Amon St. Brown. Got to get pieces of some of those games. George Pickens, Dallas Goedert, and Christian McCaffrey.
My best PPR matchup or lineup would start with Jared Goff at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I love him indoors. Keep an eye on him the second half of the season. I think he's going to have a huge second half. And I'm with you. The Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, a must at wide receiver, as is DK Metcalf. You talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers, rightfully so, throwing some flowers his way. DK Metcalf makes him fantasy relevant. DK Metcalf is a stud. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, DK Metcalf are my receivers. My running backs start at the top, Bijan Robinson. And if you can play him in every lineup, squeeze him in as best you can. Christian McCaffrey, because of the catches, these are studs. These are guys that if you can get them in your lineup, they will pay you back. Same thing with McBride now with the way things are going in Arizona. If it is Jacoby Brissett, I think McBride is a guy that could really jump up in his production. I don't think Kyler Murray has done him any justice. I think the backup might be the better option for that tight end. And my flex is maybe the greatest story in the waiver wire of fantasy this year, and that is Rico Dowdle. Yeah. Unbelievable. Combined yards the last 2 weeks, each over 200 yards each game. Yeah. Unbelievable. And Chuba Hubbard, who's a really good back, to your point, Randy, might have a hard time getting his job back. So Rico Dowdle in my flex position rounds out my best PPR lineup.
All right. Very good. Let's talk about daily fantasy. The main slate on FanDuel is obviously runs through the 3:00 games. And this is my thinking and my lineup this week. I'm starting with Dak Prescott at quarterback because I want a piece of that Dallas football game against Washington. So I'm going to play Prescott and I'm going to start George Pickens. Prescott's 8,300. Pickens is 8,000. I'm more of a balanced lineup this week than I was last week because I don't have Puka Nacua sitting there at over $9,500. So Dak and Pickens, I'm going to bring back Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt in that football game against Dallas. Now, you could go the other way. You could start Jaden Daniels and maybe Ertz and bring back Pickens. Either way is going to work. You just got to make sure you get a piece of that game. The number is too high. And quite honestly, I may not have enough pieces from that game in my FanDuel lineup. My other running back is Breece Hall. I'm going to gamble here because I got Breece Hall and the Jets. And I'm going to Jets defense. So I'm going to gamble this week that maybe, just maybe, the Jets can pull something together where Breece Hall will carry the ball quite a bit against a bad Carolina run defense, and the Jets defense will play just well enough for that to happen a lot on Sunday. So Breece Hall is my other running back. I've got McConkey because I want a piece of that Chargers game. So I'm going to play McConkey. They're playing Indianapolis. That number's too high. I've got Tet McMillan in that Carolina game against the Jets. So he's my bring back in that Jets game. I love Tyler Warren this week for Indy. Again, I want pieces of that Indy Chargers game. And so McConkey and Warren are my pieces. And my flex, I had to go cheaper because I'm, running out of money. I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown, and I'm going to hope that the Kansas City Chiefs and Rashee Rice are not quite on the same page in his first game back, and that maybe Hollywood Brown will still sneak in there and get a touchdown or get some yardage. So here's my lineup. Dak Prescott, Breece Hall, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, George Pickens, Ladd McConkey, Tet McMillan, Tyler Warren, Hollywood Brown, and the Jets defense, again, trying to get big pieces in those 3:00 games. Kevin?
I'm going to preface this by saying that Randy and I do not share ideas or talk about our lineups before we put this together, because we are going to cash together this week. I am keying in on that Dallas-Washington game. I also am starting Dak Prescott at 8,300 at quarterback. I am linking up George Pickens with that quarterback at $8,000, and I'm doing the buyback on Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt at 6,600.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Exactly same, right there. Exactly the same. Now we get a little different, except for my flex, and I'll get there. My other receivers are Devonta Smith, who I think has a couple of big plays in him against a Vikings secondary that is not very good. And I think Cortland Sutton is the Bronco to have. When he has quiet weeks like he had last week, Sean Payton gets him the football the following week, and I am trusting that the squeaky wheel, Cortland Sutton at 7,700, is the key guy to own for the Broncos. Pickens, Devonta, and Cortland are my receivers. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is my first running back. My other one is Jordan Mason. And as good as the Eagles have been in the last couple of years against the run, they've been leaky lately, including Scatterbo going for 3 touchdowns against them. I think Jordan Mason finds the end zone at least once and catches enough footballs to put up around 15 points in PPR. Here's my other sneaky stack, the tight end position. I'm counting on Njoku being out. I'll have to monitor that. But Harold Fannin Jr. is my tight end at 5,500, and I love the Cleveland defense this week. Love them against Miami. I think they're going to steamroll.
What's their price?
$3,900. They're cheap.
Yeah.
They're cheap, and that left me just enough to get your guy, Breece Hall, in my flex position at $7,000. So Dak, Pickens, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Jordan Mason, Fannin Jr. at tight end, Breece Hall at flex, Cleveland on the defensive side. We have very similar lineups, and we're going to have a similar result. We're going to cash.
It looks like we have sparked the interest of your dog behind us.
He's up. He's not up.
He's been riveted to this conversation.
In the Cleveland Browns stack, Fenway is gone. He's just like, you know what? I don't care. I just want a milk bone. You can have your Cleveland Browns defense in the dog pound.
All right. Very good, Kevin. Thank you so much. This show, again, presented by Aquarius Home Services and brought to you by Minnesota Masonic Charities, 10K Construction, and Lexus of Maplewood and Wayzata. Good luck this week. After this week, the bye weeks get a little bit more heavy with multiple teams out, more than 2. And so that'll make the conversation and the choices that we make a lot more interesting as we head down the road. Kevin, good luck this week. Thank you.
You too, Randy.